certain things to ourselves and the way we go about our footballing in this part of the world. Because how on earth can you tell me that somebody will go a whole season, no appearance whatsoever, and somehow ends up making a shortlist for a CAF Young Player of the Year? I mean, where else will you hear of this? As against somebody who was in this national team qualifying for the World Cup, made sure the country qualified to the World Cup, 5 goals in about 20 games, played the whole season, and somehow doesn't make it to a short list for an Africa Young Player. So for me, see, it's very unfortunate, and conversations about he played in an Arab Cup. I'm talking about Hannibal, and United fans themselves know it's even better than all of us. Conversations about him playing in an Arab Cup, him playing in the AFCON, well, you will consider that. But you see, you can't use a competition like the Arab Cup to justify someone's inclusion in a competition like that. We can't take that, and we shouldn't take that. So what I'm saying is that it's unfortunate. It smacks of a lot of the West are not even come. It smacks of a lot of not taking certain parts of the continent serious when some of these awards comes up for nominations and stuff. Because look at his numbers. I mean, and he did all of these things, more importantly, after that injury he had later in the career, later in the season. So it's unfortunate, and for me, we need to start looking at some of these things again, because it won't happen anywhere in the world except for Africa, and the fact that we don't take some of these things. Because see, listen, how can somebody go a whole season and not play a single game, and some way somehow makes a short list for? You see, it's unfair, and we should stop doing some of these things to ourselves. The final point I want to make on this Kamaldeen situation is being omitted from the team. Look at his footballing trajectory from Nordjylland all the way to Rennes, and now playing or taking the team to the Europa League. What can Hannibal say is his contribution or is his legacy even at this age? There's nothing to show for it. So for me, I'm sure DK will come and start saying that he played in an Arab Cup. Let's stop this thing. It doesn't mean anything, and it's not even a competition that we should be using to judge some of these players. The most important thing is your contribution to your national team, your contribution at the club level. At the club level, we also read. Remember Kamaldeen against PSG. Remember him against the big players in Europe. We saw him in a game against Messi. We saw him against the likes of all of these Ligue 1 stars. And what do we see? An excellent footballer who is rising. So you need to support some of these talents and just stop trying to make it look like you are doing them a favor by putting them inside. Especially when he had a serious injury scare early on in his career. So see, the Hannibal thing, the challenge. No. It's only here that we'll do something like that. Somebody didn't play a whole season and is still making a list for CAF Young. That means that we don't even take the sport serious.
All right,
so can you tell me the story?
It's okay, Jude.
First of all, we need to take a deep breath, calm down. I understand some of these things are sentimental. It's a Ghanaian player who we all know that did very well in the season that just passed. And I understand the sentiments. But you need to understand that it's not about who the better footballer is. It's about who the better footballer within a certain time frame is. And this is also the CAF Young Player of the Year award. It's an award being given by the Confederation of African Football. So national team contribution is paramount. What you did within the continent before your club football is an additional asset or whatever you call it. If you look at Kamaldeen, the most important competition that happened during that time frame, World Cup qualifying and then the after. In the World Cup qualifying, he made a couple of appearances during the group stages. Didn't necessarily shine, but was okay. Of course, Ghana topped the group, so you can add that to it. But when it came to the most important part, the 2 games that qualified Ghana to the World Cup against Nigeria, unfortunately he was injured, didn't take part in that. If you go to the AFCON, Ghana finished bottom of their group with just 1 point. Final day loss against Comoros, the country's worst performance at an AFCON in their history, and he was part of that team. So if you sum up his national team contribution during that period, it was very abysmal. Then you go to Hannibal. Look at the fact that he played a couple of games at the AFCON. Tunisia made it to the quarter-final stage. He played in the World Cup qualifying, where Tunisia qualified to the World Cup. He was integral in their running during the FIFA Arab Cup. He played all the games through to the final where they lost to Algeria. So this was somebody that on a national team front and in terms of African contribution, he was very integral. If you go to the Tunisian national team, you mention his name. He's one of the mainstays in the team. So that is very paramount. Before you go to club. Now, when you go to club, I don't necessarily want to do the comparisons and contractions. But yes, Hannibal plays for Manchester United. He played the last couple of games of the season. He played against Liverpool. He has appearances to his name. Of course, you can't compare that to what Kamaldeen did at Rennes. But also, again, in the most critical side of the season, from February to the end of the season, Kamaldeen was injured. He made just one appearance on the last day of the season. So when Rennes was actually on that run that propelled them to fourth, he wasn't necessarily part of the team. So you can understand why some of these decisions were made, and I don't think it is fair to say outrightly Kamaldeen deserves a place and Hannibal should be taken out, because trust me, there are guys on the board who sat down and did their thinking, and I'm very sure that they did all these things and then they came out to this decision. So for me, yes, it's a fast stretch to say in concrete Kamaldeen deserves a place ahead of Hannibal. I think it would be a bit unfair, especially when you're looking at it on these metrics.